Hey everybody, welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today we're going to be talking about Brion Stoutarm, and this is Tribal Giants. Now this is one of the very first tribal decks I ever did, but may be the first. Not sure. But it's gone through several iterations through the years. Obviously they've printed more giants. I updated the deck as those have come out, but I didn't want to stray too far from where it originally was, which was big giant dudes. Now, that being said, we're going to go through the creatures first. It is a little creature heavy. There's a bunch of them in there because you get three or four of them out and people tend to wipe the board on you. That's fine. They're giants. I've got more. And our general just, he throws them anyway. But you got to have Sunrise Sovereign because he is a super champion. It gives him +2 and trample. We have the Giant Harbinger to go get the giant that you want, probably the Sunrise. Hamlet back Goliath just wins a ton of games. Everybody plays with creatures. Okay, most people play with creatures. Most decks do. And this guy just gets dumb, especially if somebody gets a crazy storm herd or Genesis wave something going off, if they've got a bounce engine going with Brea, or he just gets sick in a hurry. And the more shenanigans your opponent does with creatures, the better he gets. Stonehewer Giant. Now, Stonehewer Giant doesn't have a lot of options to actually go get with equipment. As a matter of fact, we have 3. As I said, I tried to keep it creature centric to the point where the 3 it can get is obviously Sunforger. Now, Sunforger is, I think, absolutely just amazing. Searches the deck, casts it. So it's a red or white instant CMC 4 or less. So this is what I've got that I can actually get with the Sunforger. Got the Reverberate. It's a good card. It's a good copy. A lot of people love the X spells that draw cards or deal damage, what have you. Hey, me too. It's hard for me to cast Reverberate or Twin Cast or anything like that without saying, hey, me too. Sword of Plowshare, obviously, because we're playing white and we can produce a white mana, so we should be playing with Sword. It's absolute wonderful removal. Speaking of wonderful cards, Boros Charm, I don't know that it gets any better. 4 mana CMC. Hey, that's face reward right there. We also have reverse damage. Now, I'm running reverse damage simply because I don't run it in a lot of decks, and this is one of the older decks that I have. I love reverse damage. I try to play it a lot simply because I don't want to get my play group used to it. I don't want to get them, oh, he's got white mana open. He could, essentially it's a souped up fog for one creature or one spell or one something. I just about hang on to it for when it's a do or die situation. Wild Ricochet I can also get with it. Now, I can get the Shattering Pulse. I don't really want to because I'm running Shattering Pulse over Shatter for obvious reasons because buyback is the most amazing broken mechanic they've ever made, I believe, especially when the buyback is mana. When the buyback is alternative cost, such as discarding cards for bid or sacking or paying whatever it is. Mana buyback is amazing. I do not think we'll ever see it again. Yeah, supplemental sets will reprint some of these smaller cards like this, but I think we're done with it seeing it in a major normal set. Also, we got the you can't have tribal giants without actually tribal cards. Now I realize this is shapeshifter, but hey, that's giant too, and it's also mutant ninja turtles or pirate ninja monkeys, whatever you were. But Crib Swap's a great card. It does exile the creature, so that takes care of nasty indestructible things. And Crush Underfoot is actually a legit tribal giant card. And let's face it, it's just about removal. It is tantamount a lot of times to just I play 2 mana and kill that guy. Now, Feud Killer's Verdict. 6 mana. I remember when Morningtide came out, I actually looked at this card. A good friend of mine, Wesley, he said 6 mana for 10 life and a 5/5 giant. That's actually about right. Now, maybe it is, maybe it's not, but 10 life and a 5/5 dude is pretty sweet. 6 mana. I like it. Anyway, let's get back to the creatures. Oathsworn Giant, of course, he gives your team. Vigilance is the most important part of that. Yeah, the bigger butt lets them live a little longer, but let's face it, this is Giants. We've got quite a bit to go on anyway. Now, I like me some Deep Slumber Titan. The Deep Slumber Titan is amazing. I love this guy. He's a 4 mana 7/7, and sometimes it takes an earthquake just to wake him up. But we got Sun Titan. I like the Sun Titan simply because it does get back some of our other things, like our other 2 equipment that apparently I was never going to get around to, which was Lightning Greaves and Conda's Banner. Now, Conda's Banner is another one of those cards that I don't use a lot because, well, let's face it, you're going to equip this to your general, obviously, and it gives all your dudes +1 because they're all either going to be his colors. Then they're all going to be his creature type. So it's a +2. It's a 4 mana, essentially, 2 to cast, 2 to equip. It's really good. Really good for combat-based decks. The other artifact, obviously, I have to have a little bit of mana ramp in here because, let's face it, Giants aren't exactly on the cheap side. And since they aren't on the cheap side, let's go ahead and try to make them a little cheaper with the Urza's Incubator. Now, I guarantee you, in the life of Urza's Incubator, it probably doesn't happen much that somebody names Giant. But I'm telling you, it's an expensive tribe. Some of these are 8, 9 mana, and hell, they start at 4 or 5. So, Bell-based Portal. There again, there's nothing says loving like 3 mana throwing out a surprise blocker. That's beautiful. Or when Stormherd's on the stack and you can throw out the Hamlet back. And of course, we've got the Cryptic Gateway for the same thing to splash you out some Gigantes real quick. Bear of the Heavens, because sometimes you just need the world to go away. There are times when you just need to do that. I do have a couple of board wipes in here with Day of Judgment and Rout. I like Rout. It's a 7 mana card. Most of the time, I'm going to spend 7 mana on it because, like all things, Magic has taught us one super valuable thing, and that is to wait till the last second. Wait till you have the most information possible before making your decision. If you can route on your turn, what if you can wait a turn or 2 turns, play it at instant speed? Yes, you're kind of tying up your mana, not playing anything else, and that kind of gives away some tempo, but an EDH tempo is not as big of a thing. It is, and it isn't at the same time. If you're thinking about routing, and you've got, like today, I was playing a game, and I could have routed on my turn, but I knew the person I was scared of, who was already, we kind of drawn blood at each other, but the idea of, I actually netted killing 4 more creatures by waiting until his declare attack step. The other players had put out 4 more creatures, and so did he, because he played some more before he went to his attack step. Anyway, more Giants. Desolation Giant. It's got the kicker. He's all right. You just about have to pay the kicker with this guy. We have Kenny Rogers. Now, granted, this is not the cool art. The Future Sight one, I'm playing with this one simply because I've got this one foiled. I love the artwork on the Future Sight one because it looks exactly like Kenny Rogers, which is amazing because, as you all know, Kenny Rogers sang Coward of the County, and cowards cannot block warriors. You can You can make your general unblockable. You can make, most of your deck unblockable. Real quick like. Of course, value here, yes, it's 8 mana 5/5, but you get a free 6 power worth of dudes, so it's a 8 mana for 11 power. Pretty sweet. And the target giant thing's pretty neat. Here again, Commander Series cards, they make cards, and they're awesome because they make them for the format that we love. Jareth. Jareth's one of those cards that you just forget as a giant. You really do. Got to have the Stink Drinker Daredevil. Blah, blah, blah. I can't even talk. Stink Drinker Daredevil. He's a good 3-drop. 1/3. He lives a little bit longer. Arbiter of Null Ridge is a little risky. But actually, this is not really a hardcore life gain deck. So I've got this in there simply because a lot of times you've got that guy who, well, I'm at, 700 life. Well, you know what, buddy? We all are. We have the captain here. Monstrosity, yeah, it depends on where your board presence is at the time, whether you want to exile all artifacts. We don't really have a heck of a lot of enchantments. Fury Stoke. Focus now. Other creatures you control get really upset when they come in, so you can Thundercloud Shaman, dealing damage equal to the number of giants to each non-giant. This is tantamount to pretty much, well, a lot of times it's in Garrick's Wake. It destroys all creatures that you don't control most of the time. Now, randomly, somebody is going to have something out there like a Sun Titan or something like that, but them's the odds. 100-handed one. I was so excited when this card came out in Theros. Oh my gosh, I was so excited about the 100-handed one because this reads like an uncard. I mean, really, the first time you read this, you thought, wait a minute, it can block an additional 99 creature. What? It just reads like an uncard. I could have swore that this was a fake leak. But anyway, we have the Wandering Greybeard. So we're going to roll through the rest of these. Chancellor of the Forge. Now, I've played Chancellor of the Forge, and weirdly enough, in a lot of decks, his creature type doesn't even matter. But the fact that he's a giant does make it pretty neat. Of course, you saw the Sun Titan. We have the Inferno Titan as well. Now, and the one of the coup de grace, the Borderland Behemoth is just, I mean, that guy is amazing. I don't know that you're going to spend a better 7 mana. Certainly not in this deck. It's not a hardcore deck. Protector of the Crown. You do become the Monarch, and, he can suck up some damage for you. The Tarian Mauler. Yeah, this feels a little cheaty face with Tribal, but, hey, he is a giant. So we're going to go with it. Countryside Crusher. Gosh, it's so hard for me to actually say his right name because, well, I abbreviate it a lot of times. Anyway. He's going to get bigger. I mean, Graveyard from Anywhere. Hey, that's why I play with Terramorphic and Evolving, baby. One of the reasons, anyway. Claim. Now, Double Strike and Vigilance seems pretty strong. And cast a creature with converted mana cost 5 or greater. Well, that's going to happen like a whole bunch. The rest of the deck, I have, standards Oblivion Ring, Oblation. Now, Oblation or Oblation, however you choose to pronounce it, this is great. It shuffles target permanent into its opponent's or into its owner's library, and they get to draw. Now, Oblation is you can use it on yourself to save something that you don't want exiled. You can. It used to be great before the Tuck rule. Oblation was amazing before they changed the Tuck rule in EDH to where anytime the general changes zones now, you can choose to put it back in the command zone. Before then, if something put it into your deck, it was just in your deck. So it was crazy good. Now it's just good. Of course, we have the Steel Shaper's gift to go find the 3 equipment that we've got. I really like the 3 equipment that we've got, and that's the reason why I've got this in there, because those 3 do some work, and I want to make sure we find them. Vow of Duty, here again. Multiplayer cards. This is great. It's good on offense, good on defense. I love to pump somebody else's general, especially if it's a combat-centric general. Love to do it. Then last but not least, we have Mr. Gideon, the Champion of Justice. Now, I'm not sure if y'all know how I feel about this guy, if you've seen some of the other episodes he's been in. This, I think, was one of the first Planeswalker that was specifically made for EDH. I mean, somebody's got 2 or 3 creatures that it's good. If somebody's got, it's late game and they've got 5 or 6, oh my gosh. Against an elf or a goblin or a big, small tribal player, it's just ridiculous. You get to add loyalty to add loyalty. And then he becomes this horrifically large monster. And in a pinch, he can, like, be the only guy on the field. So good. So good. I don't know why this is one of those cards that EDH has not just absolutely ruined the price on, because y'all know there are some cards that we as EDH players have just absolutely I mean, driven the price up because everybody wants a copy, and I don't understand why this guy's not one of them. Anyway, that is what I have got for Tribal Giants. I do appreciate y'all watching. Y'all let me know what you think. Tell me what tribes you'd like to see. And one thing I do want to add, I just recently signed up for this Patreon thing. I guess you'll notice it in the links. Don't feel like you have to. If you want to, hey, that's great. If not, hey, that's great too. I just appreciate you watching the show. But for right now, it is time to shuffle and cut.